Hey there, YouTube. This is Jesse with Permofit. Hey, I want to do something a little bit different here. I'm gonna bring you a wood turning video, and so this is a chunk of log I had. I wanted to try turning into a bowl that had a, I guess, off-level base, and so this whole video, I'm gonna jump around a little bit here. That's how my brain works. But the whole video is sped up to 400%, and it's already a long video. So, anyways, so I got a small roughing gouge here. I think it's a 2 inch, and I'm trying to take down the corners and round it out a bit. And as you saw in the intro, it doesn't go very far. I mean, it goes far. It flies several feet, but I don't get very far in making it, and I end up just taking this piece and kind of just setting it aside. You saw it fly out there. The intro is actually in the regular speed. One of the screws broke off, and I was using, for that size of log, chunk of wood, which isn't very big, I was using a small, I think that's a 2 inch faceplate, and I was using fairly short screws. You know, they should have been longer screws and a bigger faceplate, but I was trying to minimize the damage to the wood. But anyways, so I ended up getting rid of that piece, and I had to put another piece on. I did use the same faceplate and some new screws. Now you can see this guy's a little bit smaller. What you can't see is that it's also a little bit thinner, so there's generally less mass there. I turned the original. I think I have this. Yeah, if you look to the left, you can see the handle for the speed. It's turned down to lowest speed. And this is a Delta lathe, so the speed's about 600 RPMs, which isn't that low. I would really like a variable speed controller. So if any of my YouTube or Facebook friends out there know where I can get an inexpensive speed controller that I can hook up to my existing lathe, I think it's a 16 Delta 16. I want to say 1645, but I'm more than likely wrong on that. Anyways, it's a Delta, and so back to the video here. So I have this square piece of wood. I'm trying to shape the general outer shape. I think when you saw it stop last time, it's got a flat spot. I knew that putting it on there. I centered it as center as I could, as if that flat spot wasn't there, just to get a general look. So here, as you can see, I'm taking some of the face off, I'm taking some of the back off. I'm using a gouge of some kind. I don't know if this is a spindle gouge or a bowl gouge, because ignore that. Because I am pretty new at wood turning. I've only been doing it since March. These are my Barracuda 2 jaws. I like them. They seem to do everything I need, and they're pretty awesome. They're not like super high end, but they're pretty awesome. Here I'm carving out a piece in the center, a recess for the jaws, so I can use an expansion mode, and I'm going back and forth between a scraper. Bad camera angle. You see my arms. And anyways, scraper and my gouge. Just sanding down a little bit, starting with 100 grit. This is, I don't remember the name of the brand, but it's kind of a newer sandpaper. It's pretty awesome stuff. It's super flexible and easy to get into corners and edges really well. You can fold it over itself. It's pretty heat resistant, but it is like a rubber type of polyurethane backing. So if you're used to a paper or a cloth sandpaper, it's definitely going to have more of the adaptability to the wood type or the wood contour, but it's not going to hold up, I don't think, quite as well, or at least as long as the like, let's say a really high end cloth back sandpaper. On the other hand, it does not clog very well, or very fast, I guess you could say. It stays fairly clear, as far as like getting a lot of loading, and unless you're sanding with a sanding sealer that is wet, or you're sanding something that's been oiled, I found that if I put a little bit of oil on the wood and went over it again, or my sanding sealer wasn't quite dry because I was in a rush or something like that, it does load up pretty quick. I mean, it is just sandpaper, but with an air compressor and pretty much the highest psi and an air nozzle, you can clean it out pretty easily. And if you let it dry, because it is so flexible, you can flex it a little bit and get some of that dried stuff to kind of break off with the air compressor. Here I am sanding this. Let's see, this Delta does not have a reverse, so periodically at each sanding stage, I have to go and basically sand back and forth and kind of a cross grain, as well as with the grain. I basically got to sand all directions. I got to replicate the reverse motion that a lot of lathes already have. You can see there's some checks and cracks in the wood. I end up leaving those in. I was going to seal them with super glue, the CA glue, or even wood glue and let it sit, but I don't really like the way the glue ends up looking on some of the types of wood after you apply. I think I use mineral oil and paste wax finish on the outside, and the beeswax mineral oil finish on the inside. And anyways, they always, wherever the cracks are, the CA glue always looks different as far as my luck has gone. Using the 80 grit sandpaper on a power drill just to take down some of there were some rough spots and some tear out on this guy. It was a little bit of a pain to get those out, and after the fact, because I am pretty new at this, I don't have any sharpening. Um, well, I guess I have a hone. I have a honing stone, diamond stone, to put a little bit of an edge on. But once my chisels and stuff get any duller than that, I'm forcing the wood out of the chunk instead of cutting the wood out of the chunk. So I end up getting quite a bit of tear out. My neighbor has some sharpening tools I periodically go over there and use, but I don't really do it nearly enough. And I'm not making enough money to justify the really good stuff yet. Um, but anyways, so here I am, just taking you really quickly through the stages of sanding. I guess 99% of the people that watch wood turning videos don't like watching sanding because it's boring. And I can't argue with the logic, but in my opinion, this whole video is not the most entertaining thing out there on YouTube for sure. But just showing some different techniques. Um, just in case you're wondering, I am using a Nikon um, camera, and I think I should be shooting this in 1080p. But the closest I get my camera is probably close to 8 or 10 feet away from the bowl here, but it's got a 60 times zoom, so it works out pretty good. I mean, this isn't obviously 60 times zoomed in, but I'm zoomed in close enough to kind of get an idea. It does change camera angle here soon. I have kind of a GoPro knockoff, and for some reason, when I recorded that, I believe in 4K, but I don't know exactly what the issue is. I got two different video formats. I got a MOV and a MP4, and I think I got a conversion issue. Anyways, the video ends up getting choppy with the different video footage. It doesn't change for a little while here. Try to keep this video short as possible. think it ended up still being over 17 minutes. Yeah, it's almost 17 and a half minutes. That's pretty long for a YouTube video. I guess it's not super long for a woodworking video, but or a lathe video, but I think it's pretty long. Like, I'm kind of regretting not cutting a bunch of this out. Now I'm just rambling to you guys. You know, so we're almost 11 minutes in. You know, how many of you guys are even still watching? I think I might even actually start talking about something else. I am using an air compressor here just to blow off a lot of the dust in between sandpapers, especially when I go from a coarser to a finer grit. I'm still using that. I wish I could remember the name of it. The adhesive back. I got it from Lowe's, I believe, but I think Home Depot also carries it. Oh, here I'm applying some mineral oil, and I really like the way mineral oil is kind of non-biased as far as tinting the wood. You know, generally, I mean, it might be a little bit, but I like the fact that it mostly just brings out the contrast in the grain. Anyways, I'm applying a decent, healthy amount of mineral oil and now some Minwax finishing paste wax. I like how this stuff ends up buffing out. It looks pretty good. I think it turns out pretty good. Nice and smooth. It ends up filling in the cracks a little bit, which this is pretty much kind of just a piece because I wanted to practice on some stuff. So I haven't sold anything, so it's not like I'm really worried about the end product so much. It's more just I enjoy doing it. And anyways, so I'll put my chuck on. I'm putting on, since I finished the inside already, I'm putting just a little chunk of paper towel and expanding the jaw to hold the piece of wood in place. You can see my screw holes from the faceplate. I just noticed now that I used 6 screws and it's actually got a spot for 2 more I should have used on that other piece of wood that flew off. Anyways, I'm just truing the face up here. I really like the skew I'm using. It's one of my favorites. It was given to me by my neighbor because he's afraid my Harbor Freight ones were going to break off and stab me in the chest. And pretty considerate guy. I got to recommend, if you guys get the time or the chance, look up to see if there's any wood turning clubs or groups in your area. I joined Yellowstone Wood Turners. It's pretty fantastic. I've only been there a few times, but they've had a demonstration on sharpening, and they really knowledgeable guys. I really like it. Oh, here I'm using, I think this is a simple carbide hollowing tool. I got it off eBay. It's fairly inexpensive. I mean, as far as wood turning tools go, I am not used to these. They're pretty aggressive as far as I'm concerned, but it's mostly because they're sharp and I'm inexperienced. I notice how choppy the video is. I can't remember. I shot this a few weeks ago, and I can't remember if I shot this in time lapse or if I shot this and for some reason, I don't know. I have no idea why it's so choppy. Maybe it won't be choppy when it's compiled, but when I reviewed it, it's pretty choppy. It is sped up 400%. Now, if you're wondering why are the purple colors in the background, no, I'm not growing pot. I if you go check out my YouTube channel, I got a bunch of hydroponic videos from a couple years ago. I got some hydroponic lights going on. And I have one plant left. It's my dragon fruit plant. Thanks, Zip Collector 98. Zip Collector 98. He gave me that clippings a while ago, and the thing's still alive. It's pretty awesome. Anyways, back to this guy here. So, tried a couple different camera angles here. At this point, I have the camera strapped to my wrist, my GoPro knockoff, and it looked way cooler originally when it wasn't choppy. But just kind of unique. And then I also have it set up a little bit different spot, but this is probably one of the deepest vessels I've made. And it's cool. Super excited. I made a yarn bowl for my mom for her birthday, and it was a little deeper, but it was also a much bigger bowl. So, anyways, my shop is a disaster. So, if you comment in the description, wow, your shop is a disaster, thanks for stating that. It is a disaster. I really like how the grain turned out in this guy. If you want to see pictures of it, you'll have to go over to my Facebook page. I have many photos of it posted. I don't know if, I don't think I'm going to post any on this YouTube video, but you can definitely go over to my Facebook page and check it out. I'll have a link in the description. You can follow it there, and it'll be super exciting for me and for you, I guess, if you like looking at photos of wood. If you like wood, if the wood is what you like. Anyways, so here I am just blowing out the loaded sawdust, or the loaded sandpaper from the sawdust, or I don't know how you want to say that. And I'm sanding the inside out, haha, sanding the inside, and I am trying to get the finish down to 320 here. I think I sanded this whole thing down to 320. I didn't go super elaborate. The wood's not the best. It was a chunk of a tree that I found, and it's fairly dry, not super dry. So I didn't. It was more practice making a bowl that had a flat side. You can kind of see a little bit of ghost image on the edge of the bowl as it turns. You can kind of see through it from that flat side. But anyways, here I am buffing the um, wax and oil. I end up using beeswax on the inside and mineral oil, and I